Hi everyone, Rick Bray with Broomtown Gaboses, and in this video I'd like to show you how you can access some of the question banks in eDoctrina, for example state-released questions or module questions. Now one thing to keep in mind is that you can't just immediately dive into the question banks, at least as far as I know. You do have to either create an assessment or edit an assessment. So from that eDoctrina login page, the landing page, I'm going to click Assessments. And then I can find an assessment that I've made already, and I can click the little pencil to edit it, or I can create a new assessment. In this case, I'm just going to jump in here and edit one that I've already created. And to get into the question bank, I just need to push the button that says Question Bank, and it shows up. Now, if you're creating a test, let me go back a second, and if I create a sample test and I assign it to a grade, and I build my questions, I have to fill in a subject, silly me. There we go, build the questions. From right here, I can click on Use a Question Bank, and it will get me to the exact same place. So if you're creating an assessment, you just want to click on Use a Question Bank. If you already made one and you're editing it, Question Bank, that's great. First thing that we suggest doing is clicking the Advanced tab at the top to switch to the Advanced Viewer. That seems to work pretty darn well. The state-released questions are all in the eDoctrina free items. The module questions, because we've seen sometimes where you want to have extra questions and they come from the module, that's in the Engage New York question bank. But again, eDoctrina free is where you'll find the state-released questions. From here, you need to set your standard set, and there's a big list of standards that we can pick from. Most of our subjects are going to be here in the Common Core Learning Standards. That's where like ELA math is going to be. Science is up a little bit under the New York State Learning Standards. So again, the New York State Learning Standards for science, and then the Common Core Learning Standards for all the others. Now, I realize we might be working in different standard sets, but the questions that were pulled from the assessment that we're looking for are based in that older standard set. So that's what we're looking for. In this case, if I wanted to find an ELA question, I'll set my subject as ELA. And the grade level, I can pick, if it's a middle school, I can pick 6 and 7 and 8, right? I can do a multitude of grades. There we go. You'll notice every time I click off, it's updating the questions that are there. And these filters are cascading. They go left to right, top to bottom. So if I go back and change ELA, it's going to also reset grade. But standard set, all right, ELA Common Core, good deal. Now I look at the substandard. You can search, like if it's RT, I'm just going to make one up here, RT5. I can do RT, looks like .5 and search, and there's nothing. That's silly. So maybe there isn't. But here we go. I can look through all the different standards. Oh, right, here we go. And click on it, and we're good to go. If I wanted to, I could select specific years that I'm looking for, but if I wanted, instead of maybe a select standard, let's uncheck that. If I just want to look at a specific test, here they all are. And what we suggest in this search column is typing in the word released and clicking on the magnifying glass. And here's grade 6 released, right? Because they put released items in June 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, grade 7, 13 through 19, it looks like, grade 8, 13 through 19. And I can just select all the tests that I want to look at. So maybe I pick like all the grade 8s, all the 8s, boop, boop. And there we go. And then to add a question, all I have to do is I can double click on it. Oh, that's an interesting thing. If it has linked questions like a passage, I can say I only want specific questions to come over by checking this little box, or I can select them all to come over. So that's one way to move questions, is I can double click on it, or I can also, if I scroll down over here, I can click and drag from the left pane over to the right pane. And if I do it correctly, there we go. It adds it in. So there you go. That's how you can access your state-released questions in the question bank by going into Advanced, eDoctrina Free for the state-released questions. Set your standard set. It's probably either the Common Core or the New York State Learning Standards, your subject, grade, and then assessments or specific standards you want to target. When you're all set, you can click on Return to Assessment Editor, and you'll notice down towards the bottom, there are the questions. Keep in mind, I can't see these questions. They don't look the way I would expect them to, and that's because on the top here, the answer key is selected. If I click on Questions, it'll show me the questions and go through. So there you have it. That is how to pull in questions and find questions in the question bank. In the next video, we're going to look at how to assign an assessment to your students. But if you have any questions about eDoctrina or anything else EdTech related, you're more than welcome to email me at rbray@btboses.org. And thank you for watching.